Hey guys, it's Kesara, and today I'm going to be doing my August book haul. So I decided to do my August book haul a little bit earlier this month because I think I'm going into a semi-book buying ban. Not a whole book buying ban. Like, I'm still going to buy books, especially new releases or sequels to books that I'm currently reading. I will still be doing that 100%. I don't want to go out of my way to look for other books that I just think are interesting that I may like, just because I feel like I have a lot of unread physical books right now that I need to get to. Even audiobooks. I have a pretty big library on Audible of books that I haven't gotten to yet, so I do want to get to all of these books first before I start looking at a bunch of new books, because as it sits right now, I'm probably like over 300 unread books in my house, which is a lot and probably more than I can read in a single year. I want to knock that number down a little bit before I continue buying a lot of books, so I'm only going to be buying books that I know I'm going to read right away after this book haul. This is actually going to be a pretty short book haul, though I do have a lot of books to talk about, but it's mostly because I got like 11 books from Better World Books, but they're books that I don't know that much about, so I'm not going to go super in-depth with them. But I did get a few other books that I definitely want to talk to you guys about as well. We are going to start this out with my Book of the Month Club pick, and I decided to go with The Space Between Worlds by Micaiah Johnson. I am really excited for this one. I'm usually not half as excited for a book that I've never heard of before from Book of the Month Club as I am with this one, but this one is a multiple worlds book, which is like one of my favorite tropes of all time is multiple worlds. It's a sci-fi book, so I'm really excited to get to this one. I really don't know anything about this book other than that. Like, I've never read anything by this author before. I have never heard anything about this book. I haven't heard any hype about it or anything like that, but as soon as I read the description on the Book of the Month Club website, I was just like, I need to get this book right away because I'm always looking for more books like this. Unlike most of my Book of the Month Club picks, where I don't really know if I'm gonna like it or not, I'm fairly sure I'm gonna like this book. It's just a matter of how much I'm gonna like this book, so I'm just so excited to get to this one. I don't know if I'm gonna get to it in August, but if I don't, I will definitely be getting to it in September. Okay, so one of the first books that I have to talk about is Jade War by Fonda Lee. I bought this book when I was about halfway through Jade City because I already knew that I absolutely loved Jade City and wanted to read Jade War right away. I haven't started this yet, but I will be starting it really soon, and I'm super excited for this. For those of you who don't know, this is the sequel to Jade City, and Jade City is an Asian-inspired fantasy that I think of as kind of like a cross between Crazy Rich Asians and like the Sword of Kaigen or the Poppy War, one of those two. It is so good. It has a good family dynamic while at the same time has really great action and political and social situations, and it managed to surprise me at almost every crossroad point in the plot, which is really hard to do, so I really respected that in Jade City, and I can't wait to get to Jade War and see what Fonda Lee has for me because I have a feeling I'm going to absolutely love this, and it can definitely make this series one of my favorites of all time. So next I want to talk about The Tiger and the Wolf by Adrian Tchaikovsky. It's the first book in a fantasy series by this author. I've heard really great things about this author and I've wanted to try his works, but the main one that I've heard the most about is The Children of Time, which is sci-fi, which I am really interested in still, but I wanted to try some of his fantasy works first, so that's why I decided to get this. I actually previously got another book by him, The Bear and the Serpent, in my last haul, but I found out that this is the second book in the series, so I decided to go ahead and get The Tiger and the Wolf, and the only thing that I'm really sad about is that they're a different trim size. This is what I get for buying books online, guys. I didn't do my research, and I was just like, oh, the covers match. They're gonna match, and nope, they don't. They are definitely not the same trim size. I'm gonna get over it though. I'm gonna be happy just to have the first two books in the series, and hopefully I can get to these very soon because I'm really excited to try this author's works. Okay, so now I want to talk about arcs. So I ended up getting 4 new arcs this month. 3 of them are from NetGalley. So the first one is By Sea and Sky by Antoine Bendel. I ended up getting this one on audio because I wanted to get more audiobooks from NetGalley just because I love audiobooks and I feel like they're ones that I could review really quickly. This is a Caribbean-inspired fantasy and it's an indie published fantasy. So I'm really excited to get to this one. I've been wanting to support indie authors more, and a Caribbean-inspired fantasy is just the type of book that I've always been looking for, so I'm really excited to get to that one. The next one that I ended up getting is House at the Bottom of the Lake by Josh Malerman. So Josh Malerman is the author of Bird Box, and I really love specifically his writing in Bird Box. While the concept of Bird Box was not my favorite, especially like the actual execution of this plotline, but I really liked some of the more cerebral aspects of Bird Box, and specifically Josh Malerman's tension that he writes is so well done. So I wanted to read more books by him, and this is one that I've heard people talk about as kind of like a weirder horror, which just piqued my interest. So when I saw it in NetGalley, I was like, you know what, let me request it. If I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. But I also think it is a shorter book, so I'm definitely excited to get to that one as well. And lastly, the one I am the most excited for, and honestly can't fully believe I ended up getting, is To Sleep in the Sea of Stars by Christopher Paolini. So those of you who recognize his name probably know him from The Inheritance Cycle, which is one of my favorite series of all time from when I was in high school. It is a YA fantasy series that is just incredibly epic, and I absolutely love it. And since he's coming out with a new book, I really wanted to read it. It's also an adult sci-fi novel, which really intrigues me that he went from YA fantasy to adult sci-fi, but I can kind of see how that would work, and I'm really excited for it. It's also supposed to be really epic, and you guys know I love epic novels. Whether it's fantasy or sci-fi, it doesn't really matter. If it's epic, I'm gonna love it, and I'm really excited to get to this one because I already know I like Christopher Paolini's writing style from when he was a lot younger, so I feel like it could have only gotten better with the years, and I'm really excited to get to this one. So I also got Wildcat by J.P. Harker. Thank you so much to the author for sending this to me. It is one of the first actual like physical arcs that I've actually gotten, and I'm really excited for it. So this is a historical fantasy novel following like Celtic history, and from what I've heard about this book, it's really rooted in Celtic history. It's also written by an indie author, and it's supposed to be kind of grimdark, which I'm really excited for because all of those things that make me want to read this book more. I don't know when I'm gonna get to it, but I'm really excited for it, and I'm so glad to have this book. It seems to be about a warrior woman who has this love interest, but it looks like a peaceful life is not going to be possible for her. So it has an interesting premise. It's set in like real world history, which I think is really interesting. So I am definitely excited to get to this one as well. So before we get to my Better World Books haul, which I got a lot of books, I did get 2 audiobooks this month. I was really hesitant in getting these audiobooks because these are books that I wanted physical copies of. I didn't know which actual edition I wanted, so the audiobooks that I ended up getting were Adulthood Rights and Imago by Octavia E. Butler. So these are the second and third book in the Xenogenesis series by Octavia E. Butler. Obviously, this is one of my favorite series that I've read by her so far. I've only read like 3 books by her, so I haven't read that much by her yet. But Dawn, the first book in this series, is by far one of my favorite books that I've read by her. One of my favorite sci-fi books that I've read in the longest while, and it's a book that I don't stop thinking about. Like, I continually think about. So I knew immediately that I wanted to also own copies of Adulthood Rights and Imago, but I did really want to get physical copies of it. The problem is the physical copies of these books are somewhat expensive. Like, I could get the bind up called Lilith's Brood for about $16 on Amazon, but I really don't like the cover for Lilith's Brood because it makes it look like it's a contemporary romance novel, like an erotic contemporary romance novel, and it is so not that. It is very much a sci-fi novel, and while it does have some aspects of an erotic romance novel, it is not. It is most definitely not. It is one of the most alien books you could possibly imagine, and yet the cover for Lilith's Brood does not convey that at all. So that's why I really was against getting the physical copy of Lilith's Brood. So the other option would be to get the 3 books individually in either mass market paperback or regular paperback. And while I do like the covers of those more, I still don't love them. And then each of them is $16, which is a lot considering I can get all of them in one bind up for only $16. Or since I get the 2 Audible books a month, each audiobook is about $12, so I can get each individual audiobook for about $12. And let's face it, I'm way more likely to reread an audio than the physical book anyway. What really made me end up going with the audiobooks is I found out that they're going to get new covers for the entire series. I'll put the cover for the first one, which is Dawn, up here so you guys can see it. I absolutely love the new covers that they're getting for this, and I'm really excited to get it. So I do plan on getting the physical books for these eventually when the new covers come out, and I'm really excited for it. And I'm also excited for the new covers because they match the new covers of the other Octavia E. Butler books that I already have, which are Wild Seed and Parable of the Sower and Parable of talents, since these covers kind of match the new cover for Dawn and hopefully the other Xenogenesis books. I really want to get those new covers, so I decided that for now, even though I definitely want to get them now also because I want to read them in the month of August, I decided to just go with the audiobooks because I'm gonna love the audiobooks. I know I'm gonna love the audiobooks, and that I'll wait until the new covers come out to get the physical books with those new covers. Okay, so now I want to talk about the books that I got from Better World Books. I hardly know anything about these books. Most of these books are books that I've considered getting in the past, but they're either hard to find new because they're backlisted books, or they're really expensive, more so than I was willing to pay for them. They're all like backlisted fantasy books that I've been meaning to try, and since Better World Books was doing a sale at the time, I ended up getting like 11 books for less than $30, which for me is fantastic. They're all used though, so they're not in the best condition, but I'm still really happy with this purchase. I'm not gonna go super in depth with these books because I don't know anything about them, so let me know down in the comments if you've read any of these, because I would love to hear from you guys because I literally know nothing about these books. So we have The Wayfarer Redemption by Sarah Douglas, The Golden Key by Melanie Ron, Jennifer Robinson, and Kate Elliott, The Broken Crown by Michelle West, Fortress in the Eye of Time by CJ Cherry, Touchstone by Melanie Ron, The Thief's Gamble by Juliet E. McKenna, The Silent Dragon by Irene Radford, The Demon Awakens by R.A. Salvatore, Lord's Foul Bane by Stephen R. Donaldson, Curse of the Mistwraith by Janie Wirtz, and Shadowplay by Tad Williams. So that's all I have for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I post videos on Sundays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, so consider subscribing. And if you want to be notified as soon as I upload, you can click that little bell icon. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up to support my channel. All social media links are in the description down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.